Hello everybody. In this video we're going to be talking about measuring angles. This is section 1.4 in the text. So let's start out by talking about what an angle is. So an angle is formed by two rays with the same endpoint. Okay, so check out the diagram here. And so you can see in the diagram we have ray ZY and we have ray ZX. Okay, and so the endpoint of both of those rays is Z, and we call that the vertex of an angle. Okay, so the vertex is the common endpoint for the rays that make the angle. Okay, so that's the vertex. Then you have the sides of an angle. The sides are the two rays. So ZY is one side of the angle, and ZX is the other side of the angle. All right. So with the way we name an angle, there's actually a few different ways. So one is you can name it by the vertex. You can just say angle Z, right? And by the way, this is the angle symbol here, right? Okay, so this is the symbol for angle. Or you can write the word angle if you'd like. All right, so that's one way to name it, is just by the vertex itself. Another way to name it is to put a number in the angle, on the interior of the angle, and to say angle 1, right? Or you can have angle 2 or angle 3. But the most precise way to name an angle is to use the vertex and then two sides, one on either ray. Okay, so in this case we could say angle X Z Y, right? Or you could say angle Y Z X. Okay, notice that the vertex is always in the middle when you do that. Okay, so the vertex is always in the middle when you name angles by 3 points. Okay, so it's point on one ray, vertex, and then the point on the other ray. And it doesn't necessarily matter the order as long as the vertex is in the middle. All right, so the reason that's helpful is because if let's say I have another ray come in here that's W, right? That has a point W, so ZW, right? So if I put a 1 in here, I could put it here and make it maybe a little more obvious that I'm talking about YZW, but how would I know if it was our original angle XZY, right? Where would I put the 1? It's kind of hard to say. Would you put it right in the middle, or and even if it was in the middle, it'd be kind of right on the line. So so the numbering system is difficult sometimes, depending on how many rays you have. The same thing with just using the vertex. So if I say angle Z, there's actually 3 angle Z's, right? There's angle WZY, there's angle XZW, and then there's the original angle XZY, right? So depending on the situation and you can use any one of those naming methods, but just make sure that it's clear. And when you use the 3 letters, it's always very clear. All right, so how do we measure angles? So we measure angles, or at least one way to measure angles is in degrees. Later on, you'll talk about radians in pre-calculus and calculus, and that's another way to measure angles. Okay, but in this class we'll mostly use degrees as our units of measuring angles. So we know that a circle has 360 degrees, right? Okay, so what if we cut the circle in half? If we cut the circle in half, how many degrees would we have? That's right, 180. And so when you have a straight angle, okay, its measure is 180 degrees. Okay, so if you measure from, let's say that this is the end point of this ray, let's call it X. Okay, so if I have, we'll use the same letter that we used in the last one. So let's say this is X, this is Y, and this is Z. So angle XZY would be 180 degrees, right? Or YZX, you can go the other way. Okay, so that's a straight angle is 180 degrees. All right, so then we have different classifications for our angles, right? We know that a right angle, if I cut 180 degrees in half, right, then I end up with a right angle, and this is the symbol for right angles, right, is the little box there. And so that would be half of 180, which would be 90. All right, so that's a right angle. And then we have the measure of an angle that's between 0 and 90, so smaller than a right angle, but it also has to be positive, right? So that's an acute angle. Okay, so an acute angle is between 0 and 90. And then an angle that's more than 90, but not more than 180 is, or less than 180, I should say, is an obtuse angle. Okay, so those are our 4 angle classifications. So acute, right, obtuse, and straight.